Hello and welcome to Take 6. I'm streaming executive producer Thomas Mates, filling in for Julie Broughton. She is out on assignment, but she will be back for News 6 at 4 with your forecast. Thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it. We've got a lot going on today. We are going to be looking at Epic Universe. It's getting closer and closer to the opening date, and the theme park has just announced the prices for Fast Passes. Our theme park expert Haley Coombs will be joining us in just a few minutes to go over that. All that information. We'll also be taking a look at a unique program at the Orange County Library, downtown library, where parents can take their kids to get some hands-on driving experience without putting them in any danger behind the wheel on the actual road. Before all that, we will talk to Lewis Bolden, investigator Lewis Bolden. He is looking at a pair of widows of firefighters who are fighting for their survivor benefits now that their husbands have passed away from cancer they received on the job. It's been a real struggle for them, and Lewis has been following this story for a while, so we'll get an update on that in just a few minutes. But first, we got to talk about the weather. It affects all of us, and it is really dry out there. It has been for some time. There may be some chances for rain coming up in our future, hopefully. To tell us all about it, we are joined by the one and only, the Weather Wonder Woman, Michelle Morgan. Michelle, how are you doing? Oop, hold on one second. Oh, we don't have your mic. I'm not sure what the issue is. Stand by, folks. All right, Michelle, we might have to circle back to you in a few minutes. I apologize. I don't know what happened with your microphone. It appears to just be out. Well, sorry about that, folks. Is what it is. In that case, we will then move on to News 6 investigator Lewis Bolden. He has been following this story for some time. A pair of widows in Brevard County who have been struggling to get the survivor benefits that were promised to them after their husbands died after many years on the job as firefighters. Lewis, how long have you been covering this for?
Well, we started covering this when the law took effect in 2019. So we've been following this the whole time. As you mentioned, two widows. One of them has been fighting for these benefits for more than a year, and the other one is now approaching a year. And these are benefits that are supposed to be guaranteed under the law, but municipalities have been denying the benefits. Let's take a look.
The financial burden of cancer for 3.5 years is unbelievable. Andy's life shouldn't boil down to $75,000.
This was Amy Wiles in November of last year after learning the city of Melbourne was denying the $75,000 death benefit that is supposed to be guaranteed under the law. Her husband, Andrew Eister, was a Melbourne firefighter for 24 years, diagnosed with cancer in 2021 and died in May of last year.
I have zero fight left in me. And it's so unfair.
The city still has not paid the benefit to Wiles or to Teresa Geld, whose husband Jay served as a firefighter for 40 years before he died from pancreatic and testicular cancer.
I don't even know 100% why I'm being denied these benefits, but it's obscene. It's not okay.
A spokesperson telling News 6 in an email the city is continuing to evaluate the cancer benefit claims, but is not in a position to comment further at this time. Wiles' attorney tells News 6 the city is willing to pay Wiles the benefit, but would require her to sign an agreement she's uncomfortable with. In 2019, Governor Ron DeSantis signed into law Senate Bill 426 for firefighters. It provides a one-time cash benefit of $25,000 after initial diagnosis, and cancer treatment is covered. Wiles and Geld both say the city of Melbourne paid those benefits, but when their husbands died, they denied the $75,000 death benefit that's also supposed to be guaranteed under the law.
If they're not going to pay, you've got to take them to court.
Attorney Jeff Bickler is representing Wiles and Geld and has prevailed in court in similar cases, but he says it comes at a cost to families. He supports adding language to the bill that if benefits aren't paid within 14 days of notice, a penalty of 20% would be paid to beneficiaries, and they would be entitled to reasonable attorney fees.
There should be a provision for payment of prevailing party attorney fees so that these firefighters and their families don't have to come out of pocket to pay for attorneys.
Bickler says the city is asking the Attorney General for an advisory opinion in Geld's case. Of course, we will continue to follow this. Getting results, I'm Lewis Bolden, News 6. So again, this has been going on for more than a year for one widow and approaching a year for the other. And basically, the city's insurance company is saying that they are not eligible for these benefits, the death benefits, because they were not firefighters when they died, because one had retired. But under that interpretation of the law, you would have to be diagnosed with cancer, and you would have to work until the day you die to be eligible for that benefit. And we just don't think that is what the legislature had in mind when they created this law.
Yeah, and there seems to be a couple of things that don't really jive with the city's interpretations of things. The one that's most glaring to me is the fact that they paid out those initial benefits, which would to me say that they're implicitly agreeing that this was a result of an on-the-job injury, but they are now not going with that idea that this happened to them on the job. They're saying that this is not their problem. This was something that happened to them after the fact.
Right. In the case of Amy Wiles, that agreement that they want her to sign, the sticking point for her with that agreement is the city is not conceding that this was a line of duty diagnosis. And that causes a number of other issues because there's also a workman's comp benefit that she should be eligible for, but it has to be a line of duty cancer diagnosis. And them not conceding that is going to make it more difficult down the road. The other thing I wanted to point out about this agreement is the statute is very clear. And as far as Florida statutes go, this one is very easy to understand, simple language. It's only 4 or 5 pages. And so, coming up with this interpretation, this has only started to happen in the past year or so that we've seen this argument that they're no longer firemen. But about that agreement, the statute doesn't say anything about an agreement that needs to be signed. So it's interesting to me that these municipalities, these insurance companies are coming up with these issues that the law doesn't say anything about at all.
Yeah, it's the other thing is you mentioned that the insurance company was involved, but as you've stated, the law has nothing to do with insurance companies. It doesn't talk about the city's insurance. It talks about the employer, which is the city. So the insurance company, even if they say, "Oh, we're not paying out for this," that's not the widow's problem. This is the city's problem then.
Right. And that's why these issues end up having to be litigated. And in most cases, Mr. Bickler has represented many people in these situations and prevails in court. But you have to get there. There was a case in Palm Bay that he litigated for a year. And the city ended up paying out the benefit, the $75,000. But think about the amount of attorney's fees that you are accruing over the course of a year. So you finally get this $75,000 and a big chunk of it has to go out for attorney's fees. And so that's why they're trying to add that into the law. There is a push to sort of add that to the law so families don't have to go through that. The flip side of that is if you don't fight, you walk away with nothing at all.
Yeah, and as you said, the reason that there is this push, or that the door sort of opened for this push, because they were already amending the law to expand it and include more cancer diagnoses under that provision that would make people eligible for those death benefits.
Right. That opened the door to the amendment, adding another cancer to the list. And so hopefully that will get some traction because it seems like if you do have to litigate something like this, something that's supposed to be guaranteed under the law, if you prevail in court, it does seem that the other side should have to pay the attorney's fees. But we'll see if that makes it into the amendment.
Absolutely. And I know you've also said this is not, isolated to Melbourne. We're seeing this in several municipalities where city governments seem to be arguing with the survivors of these first responders, trying to deny them these benefits, even though, as you said, the law is pretty cut and dry on the matter.
So I mentioned the case in Palm Bay. We also know of a case in Polk County and Volusia County. So it's not just Brevard. This is statewide. This is a statewide issue. And again, this defense has only popped up. This law took effect in 2019, but this defense that they're not currently a firefighter has only started to surface in the past year or so.
And I have to imagine the cities are also incurring, the cost of litigation with all this. So you almost wonder if it would be in their best interest just to pay out the $75,000 and, be able to sort of wash their hands of it, and then rather than dragging out this process.
That soundbite at the beginning of the piece where she says his life shouldn't come down to $75,000. That just sticks with you.
Absolutely.
But yeah, there is a lot of litigating that has to happen, and you pointed it out great. Again, this statute is very clear and concise, and the statute doesn't say anything about insurance companies. It says upon death, the employer is required to pay this. So the fact that they're even bringing up that the insurance company denied it is, it's a moot point,
I get you. Yes, it's unfortunate that these people, these widows and survivors of these first responders, have to go through all this. Lewis, I know you're going to stick with this and continue to follow this story as it moves through the legislature and moves through litigation as well. And we have your full story available right now on clickorlando.com. Lewis, thank you again, and thank you for your time and expertise.
No problem. We're going to continue to follow this. This is not the end of it.
Absolutely. All right, we are going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll be talking with Michelle Morgan, hopefully. If we can get those technical difficulties sorted out, we'll talk to Michelle Morgan about the weather, and we'll also be speaking with New Six theme park expert Haley Coombs about the latest coming out of Epic Universe. All that will be coming up in about 2 minutes. Okay, I gotta run back and troubleshoot. Could you sit here and just listen, make sure, and let me know if we're hearing levels out of guest 2.
Guest 2?
Yeah, let me unmute it for you real quick.
Yeah, I got you.
Thank you. Hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, excellent. Great.
So adorable. Let's get this party started. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, everyone, welcome back to Take 6. Sorry about that. We were dealing with some technical difficulties, but we have things sorted out now, and more importantly than anything, we have New 6 meteorologist Michelle Morgan. Michelle, thank you so much for your patience. Technology is great when it works. Today was not one of those days, unfortunately.
Things happen, and you handled it like a rock star. Y'all should have seen him. He ran back here, fixed it up, and ran right back there. Literally 2 seconds.
If I'm a little out of breath, that is why. A whole 25-meter run is winded
okay,
me.
Well, we'll let you catch your breath. We'll just get right into weather because there's so much to talk about. It's been super dry. It's been super warm. Really not feeling like March. Spring was last week. And with the blooms and everything, pollen has been an all-time high, a problem for many of us. But the weather has been gorgeous, especially for those that are heading out to the beaches or doing anything outside. It's really beautiful for that. So starting off with a live look outside, this is from our Launch Credit Union camera out in Port Canaveral, seeing a few clouds out in the distance, but we are dealing with some winds. And notice the palm trees blowing in the winds there. So it is a very comfortable day, but the air mass that is sitting over Central Florida, it is fairly dry, and that puts us at 68% humidity. So dealing with a dry air mass, warm temperatures, breezy conditions, and all of those things can contribute to the fire weather here across Central Florida. So again, we don't have any warnings or anything like that issued across our viewing area, but you still want to be very careful because of all of those components. So it's 76 degrees outside. It's gorgeous. We're dealing with those winds at 9 miles per hour. And as we take a look at the setup here, notice an area of high pressure to the north of us sitting over North Carolina and Virginia. That is going to continue to influence our weather today. Out to the west over parts of Texas, looking at some weather, looking at an upper level trough, and that is increasing chances for showers, some heavy rain over southern Texas. But for us here, we don't have to really worry about the rain. And because we don't have to worry about the rain, that is going to continue to pose an issue. Now, temperatures here, we're at 81 in Orlando, 79 in Kissimmee, as well as Sanford. The Villages, nice and toasty for you all at 82, and Ocala at 77 degrees. Now, I do want to show you the relative humidity here, and notice many of us, it is just dry. It's 39% out in the Villages, 42% in the Ocala. Again, just really measuring the moisture, the humidity in the atmosphere. So there's not a whole lot out there. And the winds and wind gusts. Now, the winds aren't awful out of the north and northeast, but notice the gusts that we're getting readings of 13 miles per hour in Cape Canaveral and Daytona Beach, and 14 miles per hour in Mico, and dealing with some strong wind gusts out in Sanford and DeLand, even the Villages at 14 miles per hour there. So I do want to show you your afternoon planner here. Now, if you tune in on the weekends, I love, excuse me, I love to showcase your pets, your weather photos, anything that you send in on our clickorlando.com/pins. And you can see this cute little puppy here. He's over there just hanging out, driving, looking all cute. Send me your pictures, send me your weather photos, and we all love to feature them while we're on air. Example given right now. So we're looking at plenty of sunshine as we go through the rest of your day. We're staying in the lower 80s. We're in the upper 70s, around 6, and no rain in the forecast today, staying very dry. Now, your forecast highs a little bit above average. Normally, we're at 80 degrees for this time of the season. My forecast high for today in Orlando is 82. We're at 84 in Claremont, Leesburg. Very warm out in Wildwood at 85. And then because the winds out of the north and northeast right now will keep things fairly cooler along our coastline, only climbing into the middle to upper 70s. Now, we need to talk about the fire danger here across our viewing area. Areas that you see highlighted in that light orange color, we are looking at a high fire danger, a fire threat. Any little spark can definitely cause a wildfire due to the winds, due to the low humidity, due to the warm temperatures. So again, as I mentioned before, any of those components, it can cause some wildfire problems. And then areas highlighted in the yellows, you're under medium chance, medium threat. So that includes Marion, Flagler, Osceola, and Brevard counties. So it doesn't really matter. Everybody needs to really pay attention to like sparks, making sure you're putting out your cigarettes and your cigars properly, because any of those things can spark a fire. Now let's jump ahead to some changes on the way. Rain. We certainly need it across the peninsula, and I am forecasting high rain chances on Sunday due to an unsettled weather pattern that will be heading our way. Most of our communities will be between 60 to 70%. And with that weather system coming into the area, the sea breezes are also going to get going. It's been some time since we've talked about sea breezes. All of these factors, all of these components will heighten the rain chances, and some of us may get a good soaking rain as we go through Sunday. So let's talk about the rain here. We'll time things out. So Saturday, we're fairly dry. Sunday morning, A few light showers are certainly possible, but as we go through late Sunday morning into early Sunday afternoon is when I'm expecting the heaviest of rain to start developing across central Florida. Now, this particular model showing the heaviest of the rain here over parts of Marion as well as Lake County, but I do think many spots will see a good soaking rain as we go through our Sunday afternoon leading into Sunday night. And then during the overnight hours into Monday morning, most of the rain activity is expected to come to an end, and we may just see some residual showers. Now, I'm going to show you two models in terms of rainfall potential here. So, this is the GFS model. It's on the lower scale of things, showing up to a quarter of an inch in or excuse me, a half of an inch in parts of Orlando, Leesburg, the Villages, Ocala, and then along our coastal areas, up to an inch in Cape Canaveral and over an inch of rainfall, almost to an inch and a half in Palm Coast. Now you're looking at the European model. This one is a little bit aggressive in terms of rainfall. It's showing a little bit above an inch in Leesburg as well as Cape Canaveral, and then almost a quarter of an inch in Orlando, almost an inch as we take a look at Palm Coast as well as Daytona Beach. But nonetheless, I would say many spots are expected to get between a half of an inch up to an inch and a half, and that will certainly help the drought situation. Now, the rainfall so far for the month of March, we are definitely below average here. Normally, we're supposed to get up to 2.5 inches. We've only received 0.17 inches, so that puts our deficit at 2.34 inches. So any little bit of rain will certainly help with that deficit there. And so far for the month, Orlando, top 10, fifth driest month on record with that amount of rainfall. So we definitely need the rain here, and we are in our dry season. So it's really not a surprise, but we certainly do need the rain. So I'll leave you here with your 7-day forecast. There'll be a warm day, sunny, 82. Tonight, 60. Tomorrow, in the lower 80s under partly cloudy skies. And then Saturday, you're good to go if you have any plans. A few isolated showers are possible. We're at 83. But on Sunday is when I'm expecting scattered rain, a few embedded thunderstorms to start popping up beginning during the morning hours, and then we'll see a high of 83. Then Monday, a few showers, 85. And then Tuesday, it is April 1st, April Fool's Day. A few showers are possible with a high of 87, Thomas.
That looks like a pretty good forecast. And,
Yeah.
I'm sure everyone's pretty thankful for the rain that's coming, even though it might, inconvenience them a little bit for their weekend plans. But it's better that
Sure.
than, the more potential for drought and fire danger. So I think people will take the trade-off.
Exactly. I know you get a little bit of everything with this 7-day forecast. You get warm temperatures, you get sunshine, and then you get some rain. And we definitely need the rain.
Absolutely. All right, Michelle, thank you so much. Thank you for weathering, pun intended, the technical difficulties. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
All right. We are now going to take a look at our theme parks. Epic Universe released information today on their express passes that are going up for sale soon for the much anticipated Epic Universe theme park opening, which is just a few months away. For more on that, we are joined now, as always, by our theme park expert, Haley Coombs. Haley, how you doing today?
I'm doing very well. How are you, Thomas?
Not too bad, aside from having to sprint around dealing with the tech issues. But, I
I
could stand
agree with
to run
Michelle,
a little.
though. I was admiring your work, so yes, well done.
Thank you. So we just got some info today on these express passes at Epic Universe. Tell us about it. First of all, for people who may not know, who live under a rock, what does it mean when you get one of these things? And then what's the cost going to be?
So Express Passes is an add-on option for any guest at Universal, and it allows you to skip the regular standby line and then go through any participating attraction one time. Now, we knew this was going to be high demand, and I was actually online from the morning hours, still am actually, into the online queue, and the line is paused. I'm looking at hours-long wait, so that theory checks out in terms of why this is a huge demand for guests wanting to go in this opening phase. So, but yes, this is what we're looking at in terms of Express Pass details and the VIP tours that are also on sale. Express Pass starting May 22nd, opening day, you can get one, and starting at $130. However, that's not what you're going to look at for the first few months, because opening day it was $260 a piece, and going into the months of like high popular, like July 4th week, I was seeing $250 range. So yeah.
That's again, that is an add-on. That is not the ticket price. This is on top of the ticket price. So when you pay that 260, how many rides does that let you skip the line for?
It lets you skip the one single use. So every attraction that is included in the day will allow you one time. However, we found out that not all the Epic Universe attractions are included. These are the ones. How I figured it'd be easy to remember the ones that are not included. So
Yeah.
Dragon Racers Rally at Isle of Berk, Minecart Madness, which I've heard is very fun at Super Nintendo World, and the big one of the big one, highly anticipated rides, Harry Potter and the Battle at the Ministry over at
Yeah,
Harry
the
Potter
most
World.
popular IPs that they have, the ones that people are
Yes.
most eager to get a peek at and ride. They're
Yes.
saying you, even if you're shelling out that extra 260, you're still not going to cut the line here.
And from what I've heard from people who have done these team member previews, these queues are massive naturally. And we've seen obviously in years with the Harry Potter and the Wizarding World, those queues particularly are massive. And I have heard that yes, with the Metro Flu in the Battle of Ministry, which is more of an experience, but yes, that queue is mammoth from what I've been hearing.
Oh my god, I can only imagine. And like the cues are great for if you're a fan of like all the little details in the set deck. I do love all that stuff, but even still, like these lines are going to be obscene, I'm sure, for the first several months that this park opens up. Remind us again, how much is it for a single day ticket without the express pass?
So single day starting out is $139. And when I was looking at some of the peak time days, like July 4th, they were up near 180 for a single day. So
And then you're slapping on 260 on top of that.
Yes. So
Oh my goodness. And we
those
still
are
don't
dollar signs. I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah, and then I'm seeing here on the graphic that you so kindly made for your interview here. I appreciate that. I'm seeing here there's also VIP tours available starting at $389. That's, I guess, another add-on.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you're for a family of 4 to do one of these, you're looking at quick math, back of the envelope math, $2,000 roughly.
Yeah, easily. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And these are non-private tours, and you're probably gonna. I think from my experience, there are maybe like a dozen people or so, and so the 4-hour will get you just Epic Universe access, and then the 7-hour will give you Epic Universe plus another park. So
Yeah.
whatever one you want.
Yeah, and then you're also shelling out for hotel, maybe a rental car on top of that. This, it's going to be interesting to see. I'm sure some of this is about crowd control for the cost. Trying to make it so that people who can get there are able to see as much of the park as possible. But that people are still going to be just dipping into the old savings to make the most magical vacation they can for their kids.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned crowd control because I've been hearing just chatter about thinking, oh, well, like Epic Universe went these early days, it'll be a good time to go to the other parks. Well, keep in mind the first ticket option that Universal shelled out were multi-day ticket packages, so they knew they were going to take advantage of trying to get other people to go to their other parks. So it will be a busy time at all Universal parks starting in May.
Absolutely. I'm going to let you go in just a second, but one thing you did mention and we've been seeing some video from it, the guest previews, the staff previews that are going on right now. What have you been hearing coming out of those? People talk. I know there's not a lot of official reporting on this because everyone has to kind of keep mum on it. But I know people, and you're hearing whispers here and there. What are you finding out? Sort of about the behind the scenes that's happening right now.
So one of our coworkers told me that, and actually we're just looking at the Curse of the Werewolf attractions. She said that one was particularly good, but it is shorter, so keep that in mind. But I've heard great things about Stardust Racers. That is a huge favorite. It's very, again, if you want that jolt of fastness, that is just speed and height, that is definitely up your alley. Also hearing again good things about Monsters Unchained, the other big dark ride attraction at Dark Universe. However, the technology is a little funky, so if you are motion sensitive, maybe keep that in mind there. So but again, going back to I was told to keep good eye on just the mammoth size of these queues. So I'm very curious to see, especially at the Battle of the Ministry, what those queues are like and what people could be looking at in terms of a wait time, because that is what people care about a lot. So.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Haley, we're getting up at the top of the hour now with the technical difficulties. Threw us a little long today. So I'm going to let you go for right now, but I appreciate your time and your expertise on all this. And I know you're going to continue to be reporting on all of the developments coming out of Epic Universe. And as we get closer to that opening date, what is the opening date one more time?
May 22nd, and I hope to have my firsthand experience soon. So we will talk again when that happens. So.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Looking forward to it. Thank you so much. And we'll see you shortly.
Thank you.
All right. We are going to call it here for today. Well, apologies to Crystal Moyer. We are going to not air her package just for time purposes. As I said, it's after 1 o'clock, a little late for us here on Take 6. But we'll try and get that in tomorrow for all you people who are interested in that story. Thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for watching. We'll be back on News 6 at 4. Julie Broughton will be back. She'll have your forecast. And of course, we'll have all of today's headlines. We appreciate you and have a pleasant day.